Smart. That's how I feel on every dive with one.
You guys look cool with those.
It's just because they're blue. Yeah. That is just kind of.
Match.
That one's been worn in. It matches your mask. And your gloves.
You got a snare?
Yeah, he's got it on his shoulder.
Okay. You like that snare? Why didn't you get to use it? Too soon to tell. Good to go? Yeah.
Good.
One second. Let me move that rope, Jason, so you don't get caught.
So I believe this is our final dive of the day on this particular trip. It was a couple months ago, so it's hard to really recall it. I did a bunch of clips from the other 3 or 4 dives that we did. This one was productive enough, and we caught enough lobsters quick enough that I can do pretty much the full dive. Now, the camera battery did run out before the end, but it wasn't far before the end. And I do have a couple of dead areas that I will probably cut out of it to shorten it a little bit. But other than that, hope you guys enjoy. Yeah, you can actually see how we're moving along the reef to look for them as well. And I know a lot of people were looking at the last video and seeing all the short clips and they didn't see any other fish into it. This one you'll actually see that there are some grouper and hogfish swimming around as well. So you can see here I'm double checking to make sure the lobster bag is zipped up. It always sucks to throw a bug in there and have it opened up and then they get out. Sometimes you don't know about it. I typically check on the first one on every dive. We always shut a bag right after we dump them, but I always double check just in case. You know, you never know if somebody else had gotten a hold of that bag beforehand. And it's just better to be safe than sorry. Now, obviously, this is the best dive of the day if it's the only one that I can really make a full-length video out of. We caught plenty of lobsters each dive. We just really had to work and cover some ground to do it. This particular dive, there's multiple spots where there's lobsters in the same rock or real close to each other, if not 4 or 5 feet away, then within 20 or 30 feet away, and they're just scattered throughout the entire reef. Sometimes they're only on one side of the reef, like the bottom side. Sometimes they're scattered through the bottom middle. This particular time they were scattered through the entire section. Even though this reef wasn't extremely thick, that might have had something to do with it. Now, I don't believe I have ADD, but this clip here kind of had me questioning it. I guess I was bored of catching lobsters all day and not having a gun, so I had to catch a fish. So this is my first trip over there this year. I had gone basically the end of season for the first time ever to this part of Florida anyway, lobstering. And I'm still trying to figure out how to set my gear up. I've got the lobster bag on my left-hand side, and I've got, or basically my left shoulder, and it's hanging down my left side. And then I've got the scooter attached to a D-ring on my BC belt, like my waist strap, but it's kind of like off my left side too. I ended up probably like the next trip or the trip after that, I figured out to put the lobster bag on my right shoulder. That way it's not getting tangled up in the scooter. I ended up doing much better that way. So Chad and I were both working down this reef line. He had turned around. I didn't know that he had turned around and started working the other direction. He had found plenty of lobsters that way as well. But I'm still working the top side of the ledge because he was working that bottom edge and trying to cover ground and not overlap each other. I did end up going down to the bottom after I realized that he wasn't coming back, but at the moment, that's the reason why I'm not really going all the way down to the bottom edge. So this is where one of those little dead zones picked up. I'm going to leave a little bit in here just because you see a really nice hogfish in it, but I am going to cut a little bit of the dead zone out so it won't be too terrible. You guys know me, I'm a sucker for a shell. Ended up spotting this this cowrie back in the hole. It's not an Atlantic deer cowrie. I can't remember exactly what the name is, but it's a different species that they have over on the Atlantic side. We don't get them on the Gulf. I've pulled up a couple of them now, but something I don't typically deal with, so I'll throw it in the collection. That one was definitely too small. A lot of times you just see the antenna sticking out and maybe a little bit of the head, so kind of always have to check. But I got that one all the way out of the rock, and you could definitely tell, so it wasn't worth the time and effort to try to catch them. Even though I do spend the extra time and effort to catch some of the smaller ones just to measure them, because sometimes they're real close. Well, you guys will have to let me know what you think about these style of videos. I'm definitely going to be doing some lobster diving next year, or next season, I should say, here in August is when it opens back up. I went 2 more times on this coast doing this same exact thing. One time I brought my girlfriend's son with me. I filmed a little bit. He got to use the scooter for the first time. We caught several lobsters. It was like a fun trip for him. I didn't film a ton of it, and I'm probably not going to make a video out of it. I might throw a couple little clips up because it was pretty cool watching him learn how to use the scooter. And then Chad and I did one last trip about 3 weeks before season ended, and we did really well. I had one dive that we completely crushed it. We were leapfrogging all the way down the ledge, and I think we caught like 60 lobsters between the 2 of us. The video, I never got any video of it. Ran out of battery. I never really put too much effort into recording it. Didn't charge up all my batteries before the trip just because I didn't know if I was going to use anything with any of this lobster video. But if you guys like it, I'll do better next year when we actually go on these trips and try to film some good stuff for you. And that right there is a beautiful hogfish for a place that everybody says is shot out. I mean, they just changed up the seasons for them and the regulations for them. So obviously they did something right, because we've seen plenty of nice big male hogfish over there. They're not huge like they get in the Gulf, but they're definitely bigger than I was expecting to see. I thought it was pretty cool watching that big male in the background cruising, chasing that female that went out to the right while trying to chase this lobster down. This one gave me a run for my money. I mean, he was just a little bit spooky, I guess. Most of them throughout the day were pretty mellow. It seemed like the later it got, kind of the more touchy they got. But this one didn't want anything to do with that snare, almost like he's been through it before. So this is about where my battery died. I don't remember how much longer I stayed down. I might have caught another handful of lobsters. I might have came right up, in the next couple minutes. I just don't remember. But at the end, I'll throw a clip of a bunch of the lobsters we brought with us. Got a couple. Oh. Big old crab and slipper.